Wake the flippy dip up, samurai. We've got a review to finally do. Okay, so let's get the preamble out of the way so we can jump right into this long-ass review. This video was voted on by you lovely people. If you'd like to vote on the next quick review, hop on over to the community tab and toss your vote into the ring. Should be a new one up already. This video will also be split into two main halves, my review of the base game of Cyberpunk 2077 in its current state, and then the final chunk will dive into its massive expansion, Phantom Liberty, which I'm very excited to talk about. Some slight housekeeping before we do move into this review. I now have a Patreon. It's not built around the content I make on this channel, but it is a great way to support me directly if that's something you feel like doing. But please feel free to ignore this announcement entirely. A Patreon is the last thing you should really be spending your money on in this economy. What you will find over there, since it's not, video related, is content related to the book I've been writing. In fact, there's the prologue and first two chapters currently up completely for free, and that will continue up until chapter 5, which then it'll be member only, which is just $1 a month. If you're interested in seeing what I've got to offer in the respects of my writing, as well as a card game I'm making, that is where you can find all the content around that. Anyhow, let's get started on this review. I'm going to start it by giving some background on myself so you know how much of my opinion to respect. Cyberpunk is my favorite genre of all time. From Neuromancer to Akira, I've devoured every ounce of this genre that is offered. The genre's common themes of what makes a human, the end-stage cannibalism of capitalism, and its general introspectiveness is just my goddamn food at this point. If I could inject this genre into my veins, I would. So when CD Projekt Red announced they were making a Cyberpunk 2077 game based on the titular RPG system, I was beyond thrilled. I boarded that hype train like many would, and I rode it all the way to launch day, like many would. But we all know the story from there. When that fateful day came, I and everyone else was disappointed when we were met with a buggy mess. Not to mention I was running on a middle grade laptop at the time, and while the game continued to not look great, I soldiered on, because the world and the story was infatuating. Something about the streets of Night City, even then, was goddamn hypnotic. I only learned there was fast travel recently in the game, and I've never used it, and I don't think I ever will. Genuinely, if 2077 had absolutely nothing else going for it on launch, it had the vibes. To the point I did 2 playthroughs in its dramatically broken state. Now let's zoom a couple years into the future. Edge Runners, the anime based on the world, came out. Not to mention 2077 itself had been supported by its developers, and its vehicle handling, gunplay, and skill tree had been completely overhauled. The bugs had been mostly smoothed out, and it genuinely looks and plays gorgeously. I've since gotten a pretty killer laptop, and now I'm going into my 3rd playthrough of 2077 for this video specifically. And let me tell you, it was like I was playing a brand new game. So now that we have the obligatory history lesson out of the way, let's get into the meat of this review. Within the genre of cyberpunk, the game is those tropes turned up to 11. It's neon out the ass, its buildings are sprawling, gangsters have cybernetics tuned to every inch of their body, weapons explode a bastard into a geyser of blood and gore. As opposed to the mothers of the genre like Blade Runner, Akira, or Ghost in the Shell, which were much more reserved with their pulpiness, 2077 just quite frankly has no more fucks to give, in the best ways possible. What strikes me most in the differences between 2077 and most of its genre counterparts is just how bright and vibrant everything really is. Buildings are bright colors in the daylight, cars are personalized and gorgeously robust. Everything feels and looks like a performance. Much of other cyberpunk embraces their noir roots, drab streets and angsty monochrome buildings counteracted only by the stark neon adverts, whereas 2077 moves more towards the punk side of the aesthetic. The neon advertisements are sensation overload, with the bright, overly colored nature of everything around you all combining to create a city that feels plastic in a way that it should. Corporations in our modern age are already competing for your attention. 2077 shows the future we are currently blitzing towards with reckless abandon. Just look at New York Times Square. All it's missing is the flying cars at this point. So in short, the world of 2077 is excellent. It's suffocating, all-consuming, and it really couldn't have been done better. But in the end, it's all window dressing for the plot and characters of this story. You play as V, a merc who has a rocker boy terrorist named Silverhand melding into their mind. A terrorist played by Keanu fucking Reeves. But you probably already knew that. The main thrust of the story is that you need to get this chip out of your head to stop Silverhand from overwriting you completely. Or, if you have no other choice, at least drive fast enough and leave a sexy corpse. Not to mention, with Silverhand, you can either end up becoming friends or both hating each other the entire duration of the game. It's great. This leads to you asking favors from all numbers of unsavory folk, but also ends up with you meeting and befriending people you never would have otherwise. And in my opinion, it's in these friends and side characters, and in some cases romances, where 2077 really shines. All the conversations you have with characters, even minor ones, just feel so alive in a way that most RPGs don't really do correctly, I think. These NPCs are moving, fiddling with things, offering you drugs, just little movements that you expect from real people. It's genuinely incredible how much work they put into these little moments. I can't go back to a Bethesda game ever again and not feel like I'm missing something. From the lovable, loyal Jackie to the braindance techie Judy, they all just feel so real. They have such unique personalities, and more than that, the ways they interact with their environments when they converse with you is unique to them. To the main characters, that is. Obviously, the more generic NPCs still definitely feel generic when they're walking past you on the street. But even the Ripper Victor, who you only interact with extensively for a couple missions, has a great backstory that just lends him so much character. Genuinely, this RPG feels so lived in a way that I haven't really experienced outside of it. I would love to go into each character in depth, but genuinely that would take way too much time and take a lot away from you if you haven't played it yet. Just know that this cast of characters are remarkably engaging, deeply fascinating, and I think I'm in love with at least one of them. Now, plot-wise, I think this game has a pretty alright plot with a fantastic ending, depending on which one you end up with, since each main character you finish a storyline of has a different ending for you to experience. Though I think the real gold of this game's writing is within its side gigs. There's a remarkable amount of these missions, and while the quality definitely ranges, the good ones are absolutely fantastic. That's when we get the closest to this game posing real cyberpunk questions. Cinderman as a mission really comes to mind, and is very easy to miss out on entirely. I've almost 100% this game as well, purely because I don't want to miss anything, and that's rare for me. I don't 100% games very often, because I like playing a lot of different games, and I really just don't have the time or the patience for that. I'm a little too ADHD for that shit. And still, I'm discovering entirely new experiences in this third playthrough I did for this video. But all of that is fine and dandy. What about the gameplay of Cyberpunk 2077? In my opinion, it's excellent. Whether you want to be a neo-samurai, recon specialist, decker, this game has it all. I personally recommend playing somebody that manipulates the minds and environments with your cybertech, because it's just so damn fun. You can pop people's heads with your mind, it's crazy. You can even make them commit suicide, which for me is a little too traumatizing, I won't lie. But it is just another example of how you can go absolutely hog wild with this game's cybernetics. Or you can sacrifice that capability to literally freeze time, like in the anime based on the game called Edgerunners. Which is great. If you enjoy the game, you really should go watch that after you play it, because they take actual locations from the game and use it in the backgrounds of the anime, so it's really fun if you have that, basis going into the show. Just so you know. The gunplay is also super solid, not to mention the amount of builds there are that you can spec into and mess around with is great. Even if you don't jive with cyberpunk as a genre, or even just science fiction, the gameplay of this is super fun. In short, if you haven't experienced Cyberpunk 2077, and you like RPGs, you really should. All the flaws it had on launch that were gameplay related have been nearly completely smoothed over, other than your typical open world game bug here and there. While it doesn't reach the highs that were promised to us, it definitely delivers on an incredible experience. Especially if you can get on sale, that's a no-brainer in my opinion. And that's without me talking about why you should really play the game, and that's its one and only expansion, Phantom Goddamn Liberty. Phantom Liberty brings 2077 from its overpopped aesthetic back towards the roots of the genre, noir. From the framing of cinematics to the tale of saving the President of the United States from a rebellious anarchy-ran portion of Night City called Dogtown, Phantom Liberty enters you into a game of lies, undercover agents, betrayal, all that delicious good you can expect from any excellent spy film. On top of that, you have the incredible cyberpunk backdrop to boot. And once again, the goddamned characters. While lots of players were disappointed with the lack of any more romance options, you horny bastards, which I can understand though, since a lot of what makes good noir is through a lens of romance, Phantom Liberty has no lack of femme fatales, or just incredibly gorgeous men. Hello, Idris Elba, my beloved. Because guys, Where 2077 brought us Keanu Reeves, Phantom Liberty brings us Idris Elba as the incredible Special Agent Reeds. Personally, I think where Phantom Liberty shines brightest is with its characters, kind of the same as the base game. From the President herself to her Netrunner Songbird, you are in for an insane experience that only expands your understanding of the 2077 world, but also yourself and what you are willing to do. Who do you trust? When does somebody and their lies become too much? When somebody betrays you so personally, so selfishly, what do you do? Throw them to the wolves? Because that's what Phantom Liberty is. From the start, you enter this tale not trusting everybody. 2077's base story itself prepares you for that. So, when you begin this dance of layers upon layers of lies, backstabbing, and morally ambiguous decisions, you will not leave it the same person. While I think 2077 and its story is quite good, Phantom Liberty is genuinely fantastic. Some of the best science fiction there is out there. If you have already played 2077 and you've been considering coming back to play Phantom Liberty, I strongly recommend playing through the opening bits of 2077 again. While the game does give you the option to skip ahead, kind of gives you like a starter loadout, I think really re-immersing yourself into this world before beginning the expansion is almost a must. Seriously, and that's not even mentioning the other things this expansion adds: an entirely new set of side missions pertaining to an entirely new zone set near Pacifica, as mentioned, Dogtown, very good area. Not to mention, finally you get to meet the ever elusive fixer named Mr. Hands, which is pretty fun. You get to decide the fate of this rebellious city. You get to decide the fate of people you so badly want to call friends. Not to mention, you get to do cool spy shit like put one of those face-changing masks from Mission Impossible on. More than that though, 2077 and its expansion is a gorgeously macabre look at a future we continue to push ourselves towards. A future where all things are managed by corporations, where our history and future is manipulated to feed us product upon product until we run dry and they move on to the next person. It's a world that chews you up and spits you out. A familiar world. Okay, I'm being a dramatic bitch again, but you get it. It's great. It makes you really think. I appreciate games that can do that. If you play or have already played this and want some more games like it, I strongly recommend Citizen Sleeper and its sequel, both of which I plan on doing videos on, so keep an eye out there as well. I also recommend Norco if you feel like sobbing. Probably a video on that coming at some point too, if I ever become the same person I was before I touched that game. If you like books, you should go read Neuromancer and its sequels. They are incredible, and they have that delicious cyberpunk vibe, considering they kind of created it. Anyhow, you should play 2077 and its expansion. It's almost certainly my favorite AAA game, and the only open world game I've nearly 100%ed, because I just can't stop coming back. If you enjoyed this video, do smack that like button. If you want to see more content from yours truly, kick that subscribe button with the force of the sun. And once again, if you'd like to vote on the next quick review, go ahead on over to the community tab and vote. Feel free to comment if you'd like to suggest a game to be on the next vote as well. And again, if you are interested, Patreon is in the description. Would love to see you over there. But most importantly, have a goddamn wonderful day, and don't die.